Imagine this. You're on a boat, surrounded by water, with a storm brewing around you. The sky is darkening, the wind picks up, and the waves crash against the sides of the boat. You're scared, unsure if you'll make it through. But then, you hear something that changes everything. Let's dive into a story about fear, faith, and the power of trusting Jesus. Our story takes place on the Sea of Galilee. Jesus and his disciples were traveling across the water after a long day of teaching and healing. The disciples, his closest followers, were exhausted. They had seen and heard a lot that day, and they were looking forward to some rest. So, Jesus says to them, "Let's cross to the other side of the lake." They climbed into the boat, leaving the crowds behind. But something unexpected happens. As they're sailing across the lake, a huge storm suddenly blows in. The winds start howling, and the waves grow taller, crashing into the boat. The disciples, experienced fishermen used to the sea, are terrified. They try everything they can to keep the boat from sinking, but nothing works. And in the middle of all this chaos, where do you think Jesus is? He's sleeping. While the storm rages around them, Jesus is resting peacefully. Can you imagine that? The storm is wild, and Jesus is asleep. How could he sleep through all that? The disciples, panicking and afraid for their lives, rush to wake him up. They cry out, "Lord, save us! We're going to drown!" They're scared, and they can't understand why Jesus isn't worried. But then Jesus wakes up, and his response is calm. He doesn't yell, he doesn't panic, he doesn't rush. Instead, he asks them a simple question: "Why are you afraid, you of little faith?" Then Jesus stands up, faces the storm, and says with authority, "Quiet, be still." Immediately, the wind dies down. The waves stop crashing. The storm is gone, and the sea is completely calm. Now the disciples, who were just moments ago terrified, are amazed. They ask each other, "Who is this?" Even the wind and the waves obey him. And there it is. Jesus just showed them his incredible power over nature. But he didn't stop there. Through this miracle, Jesus wasn't just calming the storm outside. He was teaching his disciples something very important. First, we see how easy it is to get caught up in fear when the storms of life come our way. The disciples were experts on the water, but even they couldn't handle the storm on their own. Sometimes, in life, we feel like we're in a storm. Things seem out of control, and we're overwhelmed by our circumstances. And just like the disciples, we may find ourselves wondering, "Where is Jesus? Why isn't he helping me?" But the truth is, Jesus is always with us, even in the storms. He might not act in the way we expect, but he is in control. And he's more than capable of calming the storms in our lives, just like he did with the storm on the sea. Second, this story shows us the amazing power of Jesus. The disciples had never seen anything like it. One moment, they're drowning in fear, and the next, everything is calm. The wind and the waves obey Jesus because he is the creator of everything. He has power over nature, over circumstances, and even over our lives. When you trust in Jesus, you are trusting in someone who has the power to make a difference. Even when it seems impossible, he can bring peace to the chaos. Finally, Jesus points out that the root of their fear was a lack of faith. "Why are you afraid, you of little faith?" he asks. Faith is the key to overcoming fear. When we trust that Jesus is with us and that he has the power to help us, fear loses its grip on us. The disciples were afraid because they had forgotten who was with them. They forgot that Jesus was not just any man, he was the Son of God. When we face storms in our lives, we must remember that Jesus is with us, and that can give us the courage to face anything. So, the next time you find yourself in a storm, whether it's a tough situation, fear, or uncertainty, remember the story of Jesus calming the storm. He has the power to bring peace, and He's always by your side. Trust in Him and let go of your fear. Thank you for joining me today in this powerful story. Remember, no storm is too big for Jesus to calm. Keep faith, stay strong, and always trust in His power.